Good evening. John again going for that Immaculate grid. Had a pretty decent last couple days. I think I was at a 12 couple days ago, and then I was at 24 yesterday with half of them coming from a single player, Miguel Tejada actually, which I thought I was actually unsure, and I thought I was being like, I think this is right. When it came to it was Astros Orioles. I'll bring it up here. But it ended up being that was something like 12% when I played it, accounting for half of it. So a little bit of a interesting game. Most of the rest of these were a lot lower, but let's see how I do today. Hitting that refresh, 300 average for a season, which is a lot easier than I had 300 average for a career minimum. I think 3,000 plate appearances and the Reds, and that did not go great. Yeah, I picked Barry Larkin. That's right. I went with Barry Larkin. Let's see. We got the Giants, got the Reds, Cleveland, with the Boston Red Sox. We have Rookie of the Year. Right off the bat, Kevin Mitchell will work for all of these. He played for all four of these teams. So I'm just going to see what I can do. Without using him, I'll probably just sneak Kevin Mitchell in there. I guess he's better known with the Giants though, because he got an MVP. But I was looking at that. Well, I think it was after a game a few weeks ago, and it was just like, man, look at all these hits he played for the A's and the Mariners. Like he made his way around. So save Kevin Mitchell for the future, and I'm going to save him for today. Um, but in the meantime, let's see. I think I want to hit. I am not sponsored by Kohl's, just for the record. Right here, Greg Swindell played for both of these teams. He only played like a season in Cincinnati, but I remember I had a baseball card. It threw me off because I was just like, no, wait, he's with this team. You have the wrong C. You have the wrong Ohio team. Turns out no, played for both teams. 0.4%. Off to a decent start. Let's see here. Boston, San Francisco. That's an interesting one. I do it here. Dante Bichette would work for here. He was traded from Cincinnati to Boston in his final season. There's some other ones that might. Oh, you know who will work is someone I've used a lot and I think will be even lower. Al Simmons. He played briefly for both teams. Gets 0.03%. Say Hall of Fame. It's a pretty good one. I've used Al Simmons now like 3 or 4 times, and because I mean he's known for the A's. I think most people know he went to the White Sox, and then he had a very brief appearance with the Reds, Braves, Red Sox, Tigers. Like this is a season or less with each of these teams. So he hits a lot of American League teams, and then the Reds and the Braves. So that's how I like to keep Al Simmons in the back pocket. Um, how about I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Marquise Grissom here. He gets 1%. Okay. It's a little higher. He only played a season for Cleveland. I remember him playing for Cleveland. It was the first year I really followed baseball was the one year Marquise Grissom was in Cleveland, 1997. And I watched that World Series very closely. I was cheering for Cleveland because they were in the same division as the Brewers at the time. Brewers then moved to the National League and do a trade to acquire Marquise Grissom. In the process, giving up Mike Fetters, who Cleveland promptly flipped, so I don't think he'd work. Ron Vallone, I think, was in that trade, and then Ben McDonald, all to get Marquise Grissom. The Indians didn't need Grissom because they just reacquired Kenny Lofton, who they just traded away a season prior. So Lofton played a single season in Atlanta. Grissom played a single season in Cleveland, and then Grissom came back or not came back, but played in San Francisco um, during the Barry Bonds crazy number years. He usually hit like, I think this is like 03, 04, something like that. And after much rambling, I think I'll throw Kevin Mitchell, not Kevin Millwood. Get the right guy. He gets 1%. Yeah, he was going to be more popular with the Giants. That probably would have been a better Kevin Mitchell number, but that .03 is so nice. All right. We're listening. Season and career rate stats no longer require a qualified season. I'll have to check that out. But uh let's see here. That's interesting. So you could have like just a guy hit goes 3 for 10 and he counts. Okay. Um Rookies of the year for the Giants. Willie Mays won the 1951 Rookie of the Year. So that's one. Um, Emma maybe on Orlando Cepeda. I think Willie McCovey did. I think Willie McCovey won Rookie of the Year. Um, and then at that point you're a little bit more into the uh yeah, then you're I mean you're very much into San Francisco at that point. Um, but yeah, people are not exactly racing to the forefront of my mind, so I think I'll leave that alone for a second. Reds who've won Rookie of the Year. Chris Sabo won Rookie of the Year in the 80s, I think. Or maybe it was 1990. Maybe it was the year they won the World Series. But he won. Scott Williamson won as a reliever. Um, remember those guys. I think I'm gonna go Scott Williamson. It was that really good year for Cincinnati. He had a resurgent year, almost made the playoffs. Would have made the playoffs under the current format. 2%. All right. I'm trying to think of some examples I could use to just experiment here. But I mean, because 300 average for a season is it's pretty easy one. So I could challenge myself and see if I could think of someone who might have gone like 3 for 10 for a year or something like that, or just in a reduced time span. Ted Williams, who will probably be the most popular person here for Red Sox, but he had a couple seasons where he hit 400 in very limited time because he was coming back from war. Um, and like I guess that might work, including I think one of his seasons it was like one of the most number of plate appearances by a qualifying player without getting to a qualifying number of plate appearances, if that makes sense. There's like a big gap between like 150 plate appearances and like 503. Um, and I even wrote about it in my book, Baseball's Most Fun Frivolities, on Amazon. Link will be in the description. There's the plug. I did the thing. At some point, I should stop calling that out, but I'm going to keep plugging the book. Let's see. Let's just think of some Cleveland Guardians, Indians, Naps, etc. Buffaloes, I think was their first name, if I'm remembering that right. Nap LaJoie will work. Joe Jackson will work. Earl Real will work. That might be a good one. Al Rosen would work. Um, I'm just thinking of I think Harvey Keene would work. He played in the 50s. Let's see, Andre Thornton, I'm pretty sure would work. Julio Franco would work, and everybody in the 90s would work. Vizquel would even work. Lofton would work. Justice would work. Tomey would even work. Tomey might be a sneaky good one because he's not thought of as having a high batting average, but he hit 300 at least a couple times. Alomar would work. So many choices. I'm just gonna go old because old is better. I guess there were Do you have a son? I didn't know that, but this is the one I want. He takes 0.3%. There was definitely someone I could have gone another decimal point lower with, probably, but let's keep going here. For Boston, I think I've got one that I'll experiment with. So season and rate and career rate sets no longer require a qualified season. So I want to say, let's try out a gentleman by the name of Reggie Jefferson, because he definitely had seasons north of 300 in Boston, but I don't think any of them were qualifying seasons. So let's try him out. Yeah, he gets 0.05%. I don't think those were qualifying seasons. Um, maybe one of them was. Let's see here. 300 season and rookie of the year. I think the rule is it doesn't have to be at the same time. Pretty sure that's the rule, but I might try to get it there anyway. Um, Todd Hilton would be a good one to experiment with if that's what you're going for. People who've hit 300 in a season and one rookie of the year. Chris Coughlin comes to mind with the Marlins, I think in '09. Um, uh, he won rookie of the year. Fred Lynn and Ichiro, who both won MVP, they would both work. Um, see, Lofton is another one I could experiment with, like one rookie of the year and then a couple seasons later had a 300 batting average. Um, yeah, I want to say the rule was that they don't have to have done it in this. They could have two separate have it happen. We'll know when we play when we finish. We can look at the grid and see what it actually brings up. Oh, gotta spell his name right. There he is. 1.0%. Also, he works for Marlins and Blue Jays, so save that for your back pocket. At least he's pictured with the Blue Jays. All right, so I've made it pretty far here using getting really good scores actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.7. Oh man, so I could if I can come up with a giant better or like more rare than Willie Mays or Willie McCovey, then I would be like golden. I would have I think my high score. I could even go like sub 5 or sub 6 or something like that. Only thing is I don't think it's going to work out that way. There aren't going to be that many rookies of the year uh for San Francisco slash the New York Giants. I just remember Buster Posey won Rookie of the Year in 2010, first of that mini dynasty. So that's an option that'll hopefully draw some uh, votes, if you want to call it that, away from Mays and McCovey. Um, let's see, just thinking about some Rookie of the Year winners in the 90s. I mean, a bunch. I think I've mentioned before, but a bunch of Dodgers won Rookie of the Year in the 90s, from like 92 to 96. 97 was Scott Rowland. 98 was Kerry Wood. 99 was Scott Williamson, who's right there. Um, 2000 would have been actually blanking on 2000. '01 is Pujols. '02 is Jason Jennings. '03. Yeah, I'm just listing people off here, and they're all bound together by their common theme of not being San Francisco Giants. Um, I'm pretty confident in McCovey, and I think he'll be the rarest of the ones I've listed. So let's dial him in. It's 8%. Okay, so rarity score of 14. Posey takes 70%, so I wouldn't have been too bad going with Willie Mays. I think people are catching on Kenny Lofton. He only played a half season with San Francisco, but he's over here taking 15%. It's at the point where I'm like, I'll oftentimes have a Kenny Lofton or Reggie Sanders or maybe an Octavio Dotel, and I'll be like, no, not him. The people are onto that. Um, yeah, so Ted Williams was the most popular one here. Let me just check this. Okay, so this that answers the question. It's just any anybody who's ever because Canseco, for example, had like a 230 average in his rookie of the year season, but had a 300 average when he won MVP a couple years later. Okay. So that's very informative. Um, yeah, cool. Let's the last thing I'll do before I stop this video here is just see who all the Giants were that won Rookie of the Year. Um, so from San Francisco, we've got, ooh, is it not oh no, I skipped. Yeah, so there's Willie Mays. I was correct on him. I was correct on Posey and McCovey. I mentioned Cepeda. I was not as confident with Cepeda. Yeah, this season actually stands out because he didn't play a lot. Uh, he only had 52 games and won the big numbers, but only 52 games. So he would have worked for that, just the 300 category. And I was never going to get this gentleman. I've never heard of this man until just right now, but that's a great name. Montefusco? Cool. All right. Well, I am gonna call it there. I'm gonna read this rule a little bit, just so I can kind of understand the basis, because it seems like I can just find someone who went 4 for 10. But thanks a lot for subscribing. Keep the comments and subscriptions, everything. It warms my heart to see it. I know this is a low budget production. It's just me, a webcam, and my office, but I enjoy doing it. I have fun playing this game. I'm glad to share it with whoever wants to listen. So thanks a lot for playing, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Have a good night.